So wee Davy short. What brings Davy back to your screens today? Well, I've just stated a video. I'll play the video for you. It's not very long. And then I'll tell you why it brings me back to the screens today. Now, as I say, I'll play you this video. It's not very long. It's what brought me back to the screen today. And I'll tell you why it brought me back to the screen today after you've watched it. Pay good attention, folks.
So on the Lord Kuenssberg show on Sunday, the UK's Environment Secretary made some pretty outrageous claims about river quality in Scotland. Let's remind ourselves of exactly what he said.
Just hearing about Scottish water, they're nationalised. Pollution in rivers in Scotland is worse than in England, so of itself it's not the answer.
So yesterday, in the House of Commons, I took the opportunity to present to him the facts. Not my facts, but the facts as detailed by the House of Commons Library, and I even gave him the opportunity to correct the record. Let's see if he took it. In his opposition to nationalisation of water just yesterday, the Secretary of State didn't mention the fact that Scottish water has £113 bills cheaper in Scotland, or the fact that 97% of Scotland's bathing waters meet the quality standards expected. No, what he said of Scottish water was that pollution in rivers in Scotland is worse than in England. Yet I've consulted the House of Commons Library, and when it comes to rivers in England, just 14% meet the quality standards expected, whereas in Scotland it is 58.2%. Trust in politics matters, so he'll correct the record today, won't he?
Secretary of State.
As he correctly points out, Scotland has a nationalised water company under the control, of course, of the SNP government, and water pollution is worse than in England as a result of that circumstance. I will be more than happy to write to him to give him the facts so that he can come back and correct the record in due course.
Well, of course he didn't, because all these Labour politicians want to do is talk down Scotland. You're wise to it, I'm wise to it, but this erodes trust. It needs to end. It's time for the UK government to correct the record.
Okay, folks. Now, why did that bring me back to your screens today? Well, because Stephen Flynn challenged him in the wrong place. Because in the House of Commons, I don't know if you people are aware of this, but in the comments on the video, which I seen in Wake Up and Smell the Rosemary's group on Facebook, what happens in the video is he makes the outrageous statement in a television studio, the Laura Kuenssberg show. And Stephen asks him to correct the record in Parliament, where he doubles down on the lie. Now, why does he double down the lie? Because in Parliament, he has something called parliamentary privilege, and they can lie with impunity in Parliament. So, all the comments that were saying he should be held to account, he should resign, he should do this, do that. You've obviously not heard the parliamentary privilege. While in Westminster, in the parliamentary chamber, they can lie with impunity. And the opposition can't call them liars. That's not allowed in the rules of the game. In the rules of the game, they can lie, but the opposition can't call them liars. You can call them out on misrepresenting the facts, but you can't call them a liar. Now, here's the other thing. What should be done about that Labour MP lying and making these outrageous and absolutely preposterous statements? Well, the statement that he first made was on television. He was not in Parliament. So the way to deal with this is for Scottish Water to sue him. Because what he says outside Parliament can be dealt with in a court of law. Now, he's misleading the people of Scotland, and he's denigrating the Scottish company, whether it be nationalised or not. And that Scottish company can sue him. they can sue him in court. Now, he can lie with impunity, and that's what actually brings me here, because it appears that people in the comments on that particular video don't seem to understand that in the Houses of Parliament, they can lie with impunity and not be called out. They cannot be called liars. It's something called parliamentary privilege. But when they're out, interesting, when they set up the devolved parliaments, they made sure that devolved parliaments didn't get parliamentary privilege. So if you lie in the Scottish Parliament, you're going to jail for 2 years. You lie in the Senate, you're going to jail. I don't know what the situation is in Northern Ireland. They've got a totally different settlement. Separate union altogether. Separate 3-year union. Anyway, Scottish Water, get your act together. Sue them. What does lie under impunity mean, Rosalind? It means that you can say something that is dishonest and downright untrue in Parliament, and you cannot be called out as a liar. You can say the most preposterous things, and you can't be called out as a liar. That's what parliamentary privilege means. It was put in place allegedly so that they could have robust debates. Because lying in a debate is just another debating tactic. So it's acceptable in the debating chamber. But what was said outside that Parliament, on the television, is open to be sued by Scottish Water. Or even the Scottish Government. After all, the Scottish Government owns Scottish Water. It would look better though if it was Scottish Water that sued them, because he was denigrating the company. So folks, the whole point about this is to remind you that a politician in Westminster can say whatever the hell they like, which is not true, and suffer very little to no consequences. But when they speak lies, when they tell lies in a television studio, and it's directed at a certain entity, that lie, like it was Scottish Water, then Scottish Water can sue them. Can sue that particular MP. If they won't correct the record, then I suggest that the Scottish Government tell Scottish Water to sue us. Because they can do that. The statement was first made in a television studio, not in the Parliament. And that's why I said Stephen Flynn got it wrong. He should have picked up the phone to John and said, John, go on to Scottish Water and tell me fucking sue the minister. So that's the short, folks. The main thing is that people remember that they have something in that chamber called parliamentary privilege. Look it up. Anyway,